What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you guys footage from a series of scrimmages that we did this morning, just me and some friends in Resolute. And we're just having a good time doing some scrims with each other, and I decided to use my Sunbreaker in a 3v3 scrimmage setting. Now these are all talented players, so we did have a good time and it was a good challenge, and they really pushed me. And I'm using a couple of different skills with the Sunbreaker that I typically don't use in sixes, but I just wanted to prove that this class is not as terrible as people seem to think. The neutral game it's not honestly as weak as people think it is. Being able to regenerate health on grenade kills is fantastic. Gets me out of sticky situations, pun intended, because I am running with fusion grenades, and helps you manage multiple targets in close range. I'm using the ability on my melee that makes it so that when you punch something with your melee ability, it'll start to burn them and make them more weak to your gunfire and your teammates' gunfire. So in a 3v3 playlist where team fires are a big deal, then that can be really handy. So I found myself being more useful to my teammates while using that. Now, one of the things that I'm doing differently is I'm using Sun Charge on my super. There's a really good reason for that in 3v3, because there are a lot of Night Stalkers in 3v3. Night Stalker is an extremely strong class in the 3v3 playlist. So one of the things they do is they sit on their supers so that they can tether roaming supers. Now with Sun Charge, you can boost past their tether when you're going up against a Night Stalker, and I did this a number of times during these scrimmages where I would use the Sun Charge to boost past the tether so that by the time it activated, it couldn't reach me. And like in this instance, I'm using it to close gaps quickly so that I can just boost right into the fray and get kills up close and personal with the hammers. And it's great for approaching snipers who are hard scoping various areas, and you just kind of close that gap before they have time to react and switch to their primary or whatever they gotta do. It just makes you tougher to kill. So Sun Charge in threes, I think, is the way to go. I think that's really your best option. Also in the subclass tree, I'm prioritizing armor and recovery, which is honestly what you should do with a Titan anyways, because when you use increased control on your jump, that's what gives you the ticket into boosting around the map, doing what's called Titan skating. Here, I kind of got pinched and I was able to make some plays with Plan C. But anyways, so here's the team wipe. What you gotta do is use the increased control to increase your, not only do you have more control in your aerial, here's a nice team wipe as well, including a goldie, some golden tears, and the sticky grenade, and then boost away, which is gonna lead me to my next point. But anyways, armor and recovery. Recovery is great because with my Titan, I play a little bit close to the fray, so it's good to be able to regenerate health more quickly. It's good to be able to survive things like trip mines as well when you have high armor. Now, the reason why you don't really need to prioritize agility is because the Titan movement isn't based on the agility stat, it's based on Titan skating and using the increased control on your jump. So that's the ticket into moving quickly, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the high armor and you get the high mobility. Now, some people might say that's OP, but absolutely not. Without that kind of mobility, the Titan would be, in my opinion, extremely underpowered in the Crucible, and these other subclasses would just outshine it in a lot of different ways. But you'll notice these are, like I said, these are scrimmages, and we're using exotic armor. So I'm using my Twilight Garrison. Now, some people might say, well, that's not a legit scrimmage. Well, here's the thing. There is no written set of rules that says, hey, if Destiny's going to be competitive, these are the rules you have to abide by. There's a written sort of suggestion for when they do tourneys and those rule sets, sure. But Destiny doesn't have a competitive environment yet. So it's really just players saying, here's what we think is fair and balanced. But anyways, my views on what's fair and balanced is not really the same thing as what other people say is fair and balanced, and you may have different opinions too. But in my opinion, exotic armor is one of the things that frees you up to create your own playstyle in the Crucible. So to say you can't use those armor pieces, I think is really cutting the game short of what it was intended to be. In my opinion, the rule sets that are in place for like tourneys and stuff try and turn this into an arena shooter, and this is not an arena shooter. And I really enjoy the experience of using exotic armor like the Twilight Garrison to increase mobility. And that's, to me, is what the Destiny experience is all about. I don't want to put training wheels on it and limit it and sort of reduce it down and boil it down to something less than what it is. So I don't really agree with all of the rule sets. That's why I don't really participate in the tourneys. And they say things like, they've allowed things like Thorn and Last Word during those eras when those things were just ridiculously overpowered. So the problem is that, according to the rule sets that they have in place, the problem is that you see only the same subclasses and weapons in sweats all the time. And so I don't really care for that personally. It's a little bit better right now. I think that they're getting to the right spot, but that's sort of my take on it. So yeah, we're using exotic armor because that's Destiny. This is Destiny. And honestly, I think that it wouldn't do you guys much good if I'm sitting here showing you how to play a certain subclass without using those things. Because let's be honest, the overwhelming majority of you, the overwhelming majority of the time that you're playing, you're not going to be playing sweats. You're going to be playing things like Trials of Osiris or the Crucible in general, just the public matches. And you're going to be using these abilities, and you should be using these abilities because that's what makes Destiny fun. So, I'm using Twilight Garrison. I also used the Immolation Fist a little bit, but I decided that the Garrison was just much better for threes. It's really good for juking things out and getting away from certain grenades that people like to use in the threes environments, like the skip nades. And yeah, it's just great for closing gaps and creating gaps, which is what you have to do. You prioritize your engagements. You say, this is one worth sticking out or inserting myself into, or this is one that I need to run away from. You see here, I found that the hammers were best to use in conjunction with my teammate. Like, I wouldn't use it when my teammate was down. That didn't make sense. I wanted to have two blips on the radar so that they would hear the hammers proc and they would either run to me or they'd run to my teammate. So we'd pinch them in between them. In between us, and that's with roaming supers. That's the danger in just popping it willy-nilly, is that when you pop it, everyone knows that you popped it. So you have to close that gap before they can run away, hide behind cover, bait you into choke points. So we would just use it as a pinching super, and it worked out so much better treating it that way. But I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. You know, I'm a believer in this subclass. I think it's fun, and I think it's effective, and hopefully you do too. And I'll catch you in the Crucible.